Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode, the 10th episode of the Roofball Federation of
Big
America.
10, baby.
That's 2 high fives, Adam.
That's
like
right.
if you and I high fived right now, it would be 10 total fingers.
We're going to need third hands. I don't know how we do that.
I mean, I guess that's the question of the day. Did either one of us think we'd make it to double digits when we started?
I mean, we had like probably up to 40 years to do it. So eventually, I don't know if we thought we'd get to 10 this quick, but eventually, sure.
Yeah. So today's an interesting one. We have Greg, or OXWOF on Reddit, as he's called. And he, we'll talk about it obviously in more detail, but really as little credit as he wants to take, he actually plays an extremely key or vital role in the popularity of roofball as it is now, despite the fact that he's never been to a roofball tournament. He's never thrown a ball on a roof, at least from a roofball standpoint. We hope to change that in the future, but yeah, he was the man who found those videos, enjoyed those videos, and put it on Reddit, and we saw that explosion basically a year ago.
Happy anniversary, a year ago today.
Yeah. And so early, February of 2023, and it kind of took off that month, and then YouTube said, hey, this is interesting. People are interested in this, and shot it off again. So I'll let you talk a little bit about it, but it's a different conversation we normally had. It's not so much about the game, but more about kind of how that all happened and what that has meant for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. The coolest thing I thought about it that we didn't know at the time, because we went in as cold as we could with this interview. And again, this is a guy that neither of us knew. He had no connection to roofball before he posted the video. The thing I wasn't expecting was how intentional of an act it was. It wasn't just like he was like, hey, I'm going to put this on r/videos. It was a thing of, months or maybe years after he'd seen it the first time, he thought to himself, you know what? I need to go find that and put that up. That was really surprising. And I also love the origin story of his name. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to tell everyone to look out for, I shot my version of it, my portion of it, when I was in a hotel room in Florida. So it does not have the usual glorious background that you're used to with me, and the lighting's not great. And I'm a TV guy, so I'm not a huge fan of that. So bear with me there. And we recorded it differently. And so instead of being the 2 boxes or what would be the 3 boxes, it bounces back and forth, which, I think it had some value to it. But if you're looking and you're like me and you're going, wait a minute, why is this different? That's why.
Yeah. And if you're like Adam, which we know you're not, it'll be back to the normal thing here in the future. So
next week we'll be back to normal.
Yeah. I mean, you can always, green screen yourself next time you're in a hotel room and put that background on there.
I know. Well, I should have blurred the background, which is what Greg did. Also, I want to tease, for the first time ever, we can tease something. On Valentine's Day, V for Valentine's Day, a week from today, the Vercast family, Christian, Caleb, and Mike will all be on with us. So that's going to be a blow out the budget. We might spend $3 to $4 on that episode. $5, just faces everywhere. So you got to tune in for that. The second royal family of roofball.
I like that. And true, absolutely true. All right. Well, without further ado, here is OXWOF. Today's guest is a really unique guest in the world of roofball, because if you listen to the other prior 9 episodes, or ever read anything about roofball or came to a tournament or anything, all you hear about is Adam and all the contribution Adam has done to this game. And he has put in multiple decades of work on this. And that, really resulted in a lot of fun for some people. But Greg is kind of the key turning point right now in the modern era, the newest era of roofball. So without going too deep into it, we'll go through some questions here. But Greg, you're the person who somehow, we'll get into it, somehow found a roofball video from 2008 on YouTube, and you posted it to Reddit, to a very big subreddit there, the videos. And it took off from there. We have some stats that we can go over and everything, but let's just get right to it. How did you find the roofball video to begin with?
I have a habit of watching YouTube videos of obscure sports, whether it's something like a roofball or even just like cricket or something like that. I just like watching that stuff. And I think the algorithm knows that. And years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, I somehow came across a Roofball video. And I think it might have been the same one. I think, Adam, did you like re-upload it or something? I think it might have been the same one. And I watched it and it was cool. I liked it. Obviously, the production value was, bananas, and the whole thing was really fun. And then I just kind of moved on. And then a year ago, I was on YouTube again, and I just remembered it out of nowhere. I was just like, wasn't there that thing? Like they were out front. Was it called like Roofball or something? And so I searched that, and I found a couple other things that were called Roofball that weren't right. And then I saw, that thumbnail of, Travis and Rob, and I was like, that's it. And I started watching it again, and I got maybe 10 minutes into it, and I thought, this is a gem. This has 14 views. And that's not acceptable. This is amazing. Everything about it is like pitch perfect. And so I thought, I'll throw this on the videos subreddit, which I don't hang out on very often, but I think people might think this is interesting. This might get a little bit of play, because it'd be cool if a few hundred people saw this and bumped up the view count, because I don't know if this guy pays any attention to the view counts of his videos, but it'd be nice if it got a little bit of recognition. And yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so let's. Sorry, Adam, I'm going to interject there and just go over some stats. So you see the video again on it's that upload. It had 14 views. So your post alone, as of we'll say today-ish, has 13,000 likes and 934 comments. The video, just that one video, in the first 2 days, it had 135,000 views. And then 500,000, so 500,000 views from 15 within the first 2 weeks, and now sits at about 630,000. So I appreciate it, Greg. Thanks for putting it there on Reddit. I don't know, Adam, why didn't we think of that earlier? But but really appreciate it. So Adam, sorry to interrupt you there.
Well, yeah, I wanted to give Greg and everyone a little bit of a backstory. What happened? So you probably saw it originally when I'd uploaded it. Not long after we originally uploaded it, not long after the tournament happened back in 2008. But what happened about a year ago was I was uploading a bunch of old DVDs. I was trying to get rid of the DVDs. And so I uploaded a full hour's worth of part 1 and part 2 of the 08 tournament. And that probably brought it back up in the algorithm and came up as new. So that's why there were longer blocks. But my question for you about the tournament that you saw originally, did you have a favorite player? Did you get hooked into anybody when you were watching it?
Oh man, probably you, honestly, because I could tell it was your thing. Yeah, but what's funny was, so like I said, I posted it on Reddit like after watching it for maybe 10 minutes, and then I had to stop watching it. Something happened, I had to walk away, and I came back, and people were posting on Reddit about stuff that happened in the second hour before I had even seen it. People had already launched way ahead of me. And watch. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Adam, you probably were the one I was rooting for, just because, sort of by default, I didn't know anyone else to know what was going on. So yeah.
Well, I'm sorry I let you down in the 08 tournament. I'm hoping that you've watched the 09 World Championships. Have you watched more Roofball than that, or was that the one tournament? Did that take care of you?
I've watched more. I can't say I've watched all of it. But I've watched a lot, and anytime you guys are on, with one of your live broadcasts, I'm at least surreptitiously got my phone out on silent watching it, best I can, because it's really wild to see, this resurgence in popularity.
Earlier, you had mentioned, a couple things that kind of stood out. One, a connoisseur of oddities when it comes to sports, or little goofball sports, or however you want to phrase that. The production value for something in somebody's front yard is maybe a little unique. Anything else that stood out about the video that you really resonated with you?
The 2008-ness of the whole thing. It's a real time capsule, isn't it? I mean, what people are wearing, just how people are talking. It's a real that thumbnail, I think, is really lucky because it really captures the era and the whole vibe of it really, really, really well.
Getting into the primary reason we have you on here, in terms of Reddit, are you a frequent user of Reddit? Is it a place you hang out a lot?
On and off. I got if anyone looks me up, I mean, I've got a lot of posts there, but not a lot recently. I have a couple of alts that I do specific things on there too, but um not much lately. I guess after the Roofball thing, that's actually probably the last like significant post I made, and then I was like, well, I'm not going to top that.
Retire on top, is that the idea there?
That's right.
So speaking of Reddit, the name OXWOF, that's, if I'm saying that right, OXWOF. Is there like a meaning behind that name, or?
Absolutely not. There's none. I wanted a I wanted a username. This is years ago, and that I have the same username on Twitter, and I'm on Blue Sky under that name, and wherever else I exist with that name.
I think YouTube too, right?
Yeah, yep, and YouTube, yeah. And it's just because I wanted a name that meant nothing, that was pronounceable, that no one was going to have. And so what I basically did is I just keyboard mashed. This is like 15 years ago or something. I just keyboard mashed for a while until I got that one, and I was like, I like the look of that. I can say it. I googled it real quick and nothing came up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna run with that. So no, that's absolutely no meaning, and that's actually the point. The reason I picked it is because there's nothing behind it.
That I don't know what I expected on the answer, but that is a great answer.
That wasn't what I was expecting.
What were you guys expecting? Anything?
Yeah. Like I said, I had no idea what to expect.
Initials, or you liked the video game Oregon Trail and got into Oxen something. I don't know. Yeah, or some type of acronym. I definitely didn't think it was. I don't know. I just press some buttons and I like the look of it. It's great.
Yeah,
I think it's a better story, honestly.
So again, you touched a little bit about this, and I appreciate the sentiments, but my question was going to be, why take this and put this on Reddit? What did you see behind it? But if the answer, and I'm paraphrasing what you said earlier, is I think they deserve a couple hundred views. I mean, it's only got 14. I think that fits within the Roofball history and ecosystem so well.
Yeah, I'm trying to put myself back there, and because I definitely looked at the account. Was it just your account, Adam, that posted it? At least
yeah, my personal account. Yeah.
Yeah, and I looked back and I could see other Roofball stuff in there, and I was like, okay. He clearly like cares about this. I mean, not from the video itself, but also from the amount of stuff that's on YouTube. Clearly cares about this, and he seems like the sort of dude who might keep track of these things and watch. It just kind of got that vibe for how much there was in there, and so yeah, I thought, yeah, I gotta post this. I think other people are gonna like it and look at it. Maybe he'd appreciate it.
Yeah, before your post, the biggest action we'd ever really gotten is shortly after Travis Demers was named the Blazers radio play-by-play commentator, and all of a sudden, some of the early tournaments that had his name listed, specifically because back in the day when I had him at each game put in separately, it said who the players were in the description, and so Travis's name was in the description and thus searchable, and that had the biggest views, was just anything with Travis's name, which I think is kind of funny. But in terms of your personal Reddit posts, outside or before this post, what was sort of your big grabber? What were your biggest numbers before this one?
Oh, God, it makes it sound like I'm trying to do that, and I'm really not. I do have one that actually, I think it has more votes. I think it has more votes than the Reddit one, and it was. I know, sorry, it's I was gonna lie, but people can look it up. It's to the Today I Learned subreddit about. I could tell you, it's really dorky, but it's about Peter LaSalle, who was the executive producer for The Tonight Show with like Johnny Carson, and then he had Letterman show and Craig Ferguson show. That he grew up in the Netherlands, and he's quite old, and knew Anne Frank as a child. Like,
wow, that's very good.
Which is a vibe shift from Roofball, I got to tell you, but that's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, if we have to lose out to somebody, I guess that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. The person who Anne Frank as a kid, yeah, that's a reasonable victor in this particular battle.
Obviously, the video connected with you. You put some thought into it of why spread it and stuff. Again, very appreciative. Any thoughts on why this one kind of took off and did what it did from a viral standpoint? Like anything you think resonates with other folks?
I keep going back to the thumbnail of just Travis and Rob because it just looks perfect. Because I made sure to say, I'm pretty sure I made sure to say in the post 2008, because as soon as you see it, you're like, oh, that's definitely 2008. And I mean, and that's just the one I saw, though. I mean, if I had seen a 2009 or a 2007 or something and posted that, I think the same thing probably would have happened. Because they're all, I mean, they're not interchangeable, but they all kind of have that vibe to them. And that's what's so great about it is the production value, the taking it seriously while also not quite taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Beth singing the national anthem and zooming in on the little flag on the car, like everything is so spot on with it.
Dave Slay at TVC
whichever
TV,
one I
if
posted.
you're watching, good job.
What was that?
I'm saying Dave Slay, who directed that. I'm saying if you're watching, good job with the flag.
But yeah, I think any one of those that I had posted would have, since the one took off, I think the others would have also because they're just all good.
Well, I'm going to do an absolute no-no for interviewers, which is I'm going to say a statement and then ask you to react to the statement. The thing that was really interesting to me is, and I don't want to pick your age, but I'm guessing you're reasonably close to the same sort of market basket as Derek and me, which is to say not super young, is seeing a lot of younger people that you can kind of tell are younger people on Reddit for whom it also resonated, even though they're not looking back at their own past. And a lot of what I'm getting is sort of, wow, this is so retro, it's real world gaming. And it seemingly resonated with them almost as a retro piece. Your thoughts on that?
I think that makes sense. Yeah, I'm 37, so I'm kind of
still younger than Derek. Okay,
a little bit younger than you guys. So I can kind of see it from both angles, and I think there's a lot to that. I mean, a lot of people, especially around our sort of age, grew up doing stuff like that. And so you watch grown-ups doing it, even back in 2008, still doing it and doing it really seriously. It's a nice throwback to, your own childhood doing whatever version of Roofball or other weird game that you made. And it's also just kind of weirdly gratifying to see people that are still doing it as adults.
Not willing to give up on their wackiness.
Yeah. And I don't know, I hate to say, I don't like saying like kids these days, but I don't know if kids are still doing that. I mean, I'm sure some are, but maybe not as many. And so, yeah, I can see that being a bit of a throwback. Yeah.
Yeah. In the world of real-time gaming and Twitch and that kind of stuff, I can understand why they're not as up to going out and inventing when they got the world at their fingertips. But there's certainly a lot of value and fun in what we did and what we continue to do. So since your post, obviously we've had 5 live stream events, including the one on Barstool. Have you tuned into those? How much have you caught live, and what have your thoughts been as you watch the sort of the new era of Roofball?
I've caught a lot of it. Not all of it, but I've caught a lot of it. I watch it live when I can, and I go back and watch, the recording when I can. It's the thing that blew my mind. Oh, and I also watch pretty much every podcast episode. The thing that really blew my mind more than anything else was really early on, and it was the little YouTube short that you did in the driveway with all you guys announcing that you were going to be doing more stuff. That's when it really hit for me, like, this is really cool. Like, this isn't just like people who kind of did this back, because I didn't know you still do it. This isn't just people who did this back in the day, thinking it's neat. I mean, this is kind of becoming something, or becoming bigger again, or however you want to put it. That was the thing that really blew my mind most of all, was that one.
Nice. Not to to go back to the prior question, but I don't think we need kids today out inventing new stuff. They just need to start inventing mobile apps that deal with roofball, video games, that kind of stuff. I think that's
Just adopt our thing. It'll be great.
that's what we need them to do.
I think a roofball app. I think I don't know why no one has done that yet.
I think it's just you take like a paper football app game and you know, support it over. But that's as much as I know about that. So now that obviously you're on the East Coast, you're other side of the country from, you know, Roofball headquarters. We're trying to get some events out that way. If we get one close enough to you, what are the chances we could get you live there in person, whether just to hang out or even throw one for us?
Ooh.
I would like to do that. So I live in Cleveland, and I know you got one in Columbus or near Columbus coming up.
Heck yeah, we do.
And I've already talked to my wife. I have a 3-year-old at home, and so that kind of limits my ability to be gone for a long time. But I've already talked to my wife and said, I think I might try to get down to that one if kind of things work out. So you guys might see me down in was it Lancaster, I think, wherever that is outside Columbus.
Yep.
That's
Well,
only
they call this next part a push poll, but you know the Gibson twins who finished first and third at the U.S. Open are Cleveland people. Are they now your favorites? Are you following them? Are they your guys?
Yeah, I gotta say yes, right? You gotta have that Cleveland solidarity. We don't have a lot, so you gotta have that.
Until the Browns make the Super Bowl, I guess. They're your guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you gotta have the Cleveland solidarity then. Yeah. Waiting on the Browns to make the Super Bowl is gonna be a long wait.
Awesome. Well, as soon as we get some merch from the Gibson twins, we'll make sure it finds its way over to
There you go. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Well, Adam, anything else you wanted to chat about?
I mean, ultimately, I think you have a handle on it, but there's just nothing that we probably could have done on our own to do for Roofball, and it's the size it has grown to as quickly as it has beyond what you did by posting that video. And I know you didn't put it up there with the idea that it was going to get 630,000 YouTube views, but I got to throw it back to the fall of, or the late summer of 2022. I had scheduled the U.S. Open, then I changed the date relatively late. And a lot of Roofball players are now in their 30s, 40s, 50s. They have kids, they have lives. And we had 7 players at the 2022 U.S. Open. And I had to sort of have a serious conversation with myself at that point as to whether it was kind of time to let it go or whether I wanted to put more energy into it for the World Championships. And the great thing is I had decided the latter and was working on a good way to broadcast the tournament in March of 2023. I got the date out there as early as I could, but I had 12, 13 people who were signed up relatively early, but your post just turbocharged all of it. And that caused the guys from Barstool to want to come out and watch it. It got me media appearances in Minnesota and in West Virginia and in Barstool in New Jersey, et cetera. And the ride that we are currently on, this new wave of Roofball, is directly attributable to your post. And I live 100 years. I could not thank you enough for making that performing that one random act and boosting Roofball into the stratosphere compared to what it was before. So thank you so much for taking however long that took, the 30 seconds to 5 minutes out of your day 1 year ago today, February 7th, 2023, and hitting send. So yeah, thank you so much.
Well, that's nice to hear, and it's nice to have been able to play a little role in that. But it's not. I didn't do anything. You guys did all of that prep work for all that time. I mean, you made those videos. You have put all the effort in, since then to keep it going and keep it pushing forward. It's like you guys built this giant contraption and put a little marble on the top. And if I came along and just had pushed the marble, and now everything you did is coming out. And if it hadn't been me, someone else I think would have done it at some point, because people see these things. But no, it's really cool from just my little perspective to see success after success after success, and yeah, like I said, know that I played the tiniest role in making it happen.
Yeah, very humble of you, Greg, but really, again, Adam said it best, but really appreciate you joining. And I'm glad it wasn't just this video, put it over here and you walk away. I'm glad you're still enjoying it and interacting with us, and obviously coming on the show today.
No, absolutely. I've been hoping that you guys would have me on for a while, and because I thought, maybe if they run out of people to talk to, they'll get to me eventually. I didn't think about the anniversary or anything, but I thought, maybe at some point. So no, absolutely, and obviously I'm going to keep in touch and keep watching, and you might see me in Columbus. I can't promise anything, but it might happen.
Hey, last weekend in June, man, it would be fantastic to see you. Really hope you're able to make it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm Derek with Adam as always. Greg, thank you once again for being on the show and everything else you've done. Appreciate it, everybody. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you later.